Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be doing a brief but very important analysis of an Ember Spirit game. This is a physical damage Battle Fury and Adesso Ember Spirit build. Now, I will be honest, I think in most games, Maelstrom is still the way to go. I think this hero is still best as a mid laner, but I still wanted to cover it in the safe lane as this build is very cool, it's very innovative, and if you aren't sure why you can go physical damage, Sleight of Fist, on Ember Spirit now, why it's better than it was in the past, in 7.31, Sleight of Fist was buffed at level 1, making Sleight of Fist a lower cooldown, so it's just better in lane. The bonus hero damage was rescaled, where it's better at level 1, so essentially this ability is much better in lane, making you a better safe laner in particular. It's good mid too. And it no longer, most importantly, does half damage to creeps. It did half. The patch says reduced, but it was literally half, which is obviously massive, so physical damage builds weren't great. You would have to go Maelstrom to kill through camps because at least the Maelstrom procs weren't reduced. That's no longer the case, so you can go Deso, Daedalus, and Battle Fury, and it all works. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below, I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Now, in terms of the item build, I like what ILTW goes for here. It's an all-in build on the stats, plus a Blightstone. I like this because really the main concept behind this hero as a safe laner is to cast Sleight of Fist. He sees Beastmaster, he casts Sleight of Fist. It's like an 100 damage nuke on a 15-second cooldown. It's just powerful. It also reduces armor, so if your support is able to trade, it's even better, right? Assuming your support is in range to use a couple of auto attacks, it's going to enable you to damage the opponents as well, reducing their armor so your supports can trade better. Other than that, the laning stage is very simple for this hero. You're not great in terms of armor. You don't have necessarily some fantastic ability to trade in like a one-on-one situation, and therefore the name of the game is a lot of creep aggro and a spamming of Sleight of Fist. The only time you should ever auto-attack an opponent is if they are completely isolated from a creep wave and your support has caught them out. Now, in terms of following item and skill build, what ILTW is going for here is a slight chains build. However, he actually does take Flame Guard at level 4, so essentially you just have to determine whether or not it's a good lane for Flame Guard. One of the dilemmas of Ember Spirit as a safe laner is the fact that you really want to take Sleight of Fist at level 3, but at the same time, if you're going to go Flame Guard, you also want to take that at level 3 because it more than doubles in damage block. So in this lane in particular, I think he took the Flame Guard because it is good against Beastmaster if you're going to go for a kill. Literally, as he hit level 4, there was a kill opportunity. Otherwise, I generally recommend doubling down on one of your two abilities. I don't really recommend going 1-2-1 in almost any lane. This build is technically the best for getting kills from full HP, but it's very mana intensive, something your hero doesn't really have a lot of. Now, in terms of early items, you shouldn't buy anything, and I mean you should not buy anything that isn't something that essentially allows you to sustain the lane. His first two major items are Wand and Raindrops. After that, it's Boots. Boots obviously allowing him to engage and disengage. Obviously, it's just Boots. But yeah, if you don't do this, you're going to run out of HP. Honestly, this hero is not some fantastic laner. I would say most matchups it actually loses, especially to ranged offlaners such as like Death Prophet and Viper. This hero can get crushed. So you need to play generally very defensive. Once again, spamming the Sleight, playing for CS. Now let's move on to the mid game. Now in terms of overall skill build, I recommend you copy what ILTW does. Assuming you're playing as a safe laner, what you want to do is honestly primarily farm and just defend towers. Sleight of Fist when maxed out, which is the build that you're going to be going, is incredibly good, and I mean incredibly good, at shipping enemies down. However, in these early fights, especially if you're going in Battle Fury, you're significantly weaker than, let's say, an Orb of Corrosion Javelin version of Ember Spirit. That Ember Spirit is going to be much more deadly at this point in the game. So the whole purpose behind this build is still to take these early game skirmishes. As you'll see here, he's going to look, he's constantly moving his camera in between the camps and the fight and looking for opportunities to help out with the occasional Sleight of Fist and chains, as we see here, but you definitely do not hard commit on these engagements, as I said earlier, because you're going Battle Fury, you're a little bit weak. On top of that, you might be wondering treads. honestly, you do auto attack at some point in the game. Generally, the idea of Ember Spirit in these team fights, when you go a build like this, is to look for isolated targets, and that is honestly about it. You're never really going to commit in, and we'll see that in later fights, but that's kind of why he goes treads. Also, it's obviously largely for the mana. This hero has massive mana problems. One thing that's particularly neat about this version of Ember Spirit is what happens when you actually get your Battle Fury. Because it no longer is reduced, it's actually better than ever at clearing through these camps. You can see this Ancient stack, for instance, one Sleight of Fist drops all of the small creeps to half HP or below. It's pretty nuts, right? And after that, and a couple of auto attacks with the benefit of the attack speed from treads, he's actually able to quickly clear through the camp. You farm ridiculously quickly at this point in the game. So remember, this version of Ember Spirit, yes, it can show up to the early game team fights, and it essentially, if like you're farming and there's a fight nearby, you should throw in a Sleight, you should throw in a chains, but you definitely do not want to commit in. Quickly, I'm going to go back and show you an example of what I mean. This is an early game fight. He's going to walk over, throw out his Sleight chains, and then kind of has to hesitate to go in. Right? Once again, he's just not that tanky. You're not that strong. He even looked for an Arcane Rune, and he's going to continue to Sleight and kite out. You want to use your Sleight as much as humanly possible. If your Sleight is off cooldown for like a couple of seconds, you are griefing. Okay, you need to Sleight as much as humanly possible. That is the only value of your hero in the early game when you are going a greedy build. Now, in terms of farming, nothing has really changed, as you're going to see. You're just going to generally run down the side lanes. However, the biggest difference between this build and the other safe lane Ember builds that involve rushing Deso in the past is you should actually be clearing through camps consistently, right? If you're going to do something like this, you definitely should be clearing the wave, clearing camps, clearing wave, clearing camps. Of course, Ember Spirit is a hero that can get very active into the game, but I would say the major spike for Ember Spirit is this Deso timing. When you get a lot of levels like this, and you're level 17 with Deso and a Battle Fury, you can actually just straight up auto attack supports, and this is the main reason why the treads are good. And if you go phase boots, you just have no attack speed at all, and this is kind of bad, just because like, you hit for 200 damage and you can't auto attack. It's like, that's not so useful. You'll see this Grimstroke here auto attacks him to death before the Ink Swell even goes off. A huge advantage, follows it up with eventually a Sleight of Fist as the Grimstroke ulti runs out, cleans up the Shaman, and only remnants in because these targets are isolated and not a threat to him. I want to be very clear, when you are playing this version of Ember, you only should remnant in if you have an Aegis, which he does, or if someone is completely separated from their team. Other than that, you're just spamming Sleight of Fist and Chains, and that's it. In terms of talents, you should basically go the same talents every single game. At level 10, you want to take 15 damage. At level 15, you want to take Searing Chains duration. Flame Guard DPS is tempting, but with this item build, it definitely does not make very much sense. You don't have a BKB, you don't have any spell amp, so it's not really the way to go. Instead, as you can see here, he's gonna Sleight. Unfortunately, missed the chains there, but what's really valuable about this Sleight Chains talent is it brings it up all the way to a 4-second duration. That's generally enough time where you can Sleight someone twice before they can even cast a spell on you, and as a result, you can basically bring most supports and a lot of cores down to half or even 1/3 HP before they can get any spells off due to this level 15 talent. And now in terms of team fights, I'm not going to be going over too much. I kind of just wanted to cover the gist of this item build. The next item you'll be going is a Daedalus almost every game. I will say though, that your item build can change. So before we get into this fight that I want to show you guys, the one thing I would say is after this Battle Fury and Deso, you can consider going Scotty as well. Let's say you're against something like Morphling or a Death Prophet. Having Daedalus is okay, but it depends on how much armor the heroes have, right? If you're playing against a lot of high armor heroes that are HP reliant or HP regen and lifesteal reliant, like something like a Morphling, a Daedalus isn't going to do much to him. Now, you still can go Daedalus and just ignore something like the Morphling and play for his supports. That's like pretty common with this right-click Ember build. You're basically designed to kite cores with chains and slaughter supports. And you'll kind of see that in this team fight here as he gets griefed by the disruption. Look at this damage, right? So the Battle Fury plus crit damage is very, very significant. As he slights here, the 2 cleaves from the first 2 cores are going to do 210 damage twice to the Grimstroke. And the third slight, he gets a little bit lucky, crits. And the Grim, after 1 Sleight of Fist, is, well, like 100 HP. Pretty good. Pretty good. And the Beastmaster is also half. Obviously, Beastmaster is going to get kited as well because he doesn't look to go in. Even if he had a Remnant, you generally wouldn't even go into this. Like, unless this Grimstroke is your top priority kill, you kind of just wait on the outside, wait for the next slide and chill. You definitely don't, you don't want to force the issue and die. Once again, you don't have BKB, you don't have a defensive item, remnants are a defensive tool. I'm repeating this because I know people are going to play Ember as if they have a Sanjin Kaya or you know, a BKB and just grief. But yeah, you can really see the damage. I know they're 22k ahead, guys, but take a look at this Sleight of Fist onto the hero. I think it kills him here. Especially at level 20, you get a 65 Sleight of Fist hero damage talent, and at level 25, you get 2 Sleight of Fist charges. All of a sudden, when you hit level 25, you're one of the scariest heroes in the game. Your Sleight of Fist can do up to 1500 damage, and you have 2 of them. It's pretty freaking ridiculous. So I definitely think there's a lot of potential in this build. It's one of my favorite and one of the most fun builds to play in Dota right now. So yeah, just want to put it on the table for you guys. Go give it a try. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a Guess the Rank very soon. So if you're interested in joining that, what you want to do is open up the YouTube tab, right? Go to our channel. Then when you go to our channel, there's home, videos, and then community. Click on community, you'll see a post there, and all you have to do is tell me what hero you're playing, then give timestamps of team fights if you want to, and yeah, I will try to guess your rank in 7.31B. Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.